everyone, and welcome back to We're Watching Star Trek, the original series, the only Star Trek podcast in existence. There's literally not another one out there, definitely not like 350 of them. But I am the only Star Trek podcast host for, I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. Anyway, I'm Brandon. We got Paul here.
Yo, what's up, people? I'm here again to talk about another episode that let you know if I enjoyed it or not.
And I'm pretty sure Dan's here, and I swear to God, if you say giddy up, we're done.
Giddy up.
No, all right, we're done.
I guess our episode's over, guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay, so before we get started, I had another just kind of a fun question for you guys, and I don't even want to know what Dan's answer is going to be on this, but let's say like you're in Starfleet, and they're like, hey, you know, you've been awesome. We want you to be the captain of a brand new ship, but we also want you to name that ship. Dan, you can't name it Giddy Up, but what would you guys name your ships?
Oh, man.
I might have to get back to you on this one later on.
Yeah.
Me personally, honestly, the first word on my mouth is the Excalibur. I like the way that sounds, you know, kind of like, the Star Trek Excalibur. I don't know. Yeah, I know it's a little bit too close. But
That's got a good ring to it.
I wonder if there is like a USS Excalibur. It seems like that's within their like realm, you know?
Excalibur. But then I'd have a bunch of random numbers out of like 459, Excalibur 483, some weird random number. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's real cool. So I like the name for it.
Yeah, that's a solid one.
How about you?
Oh, I do the USS Giddy Up.
You're gonna take my Giddy Up, huh?
USS Giddy Up.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be something stupid like the Stretch Armstrong or something. Like who doesn't want to go work on the Stretch Armstrong?
This is Captain Kirk on the SS Giddy Up, and we're here on the new mission in the planet this week. Like, oh man, like he probably could make it sound cool though. Like anytime Kirk says something that sounds cool, no matter what he says. So I bet he'd be like, yeah.
Hey,
great, you want to go on my captain?
And then
Giddy Up?
Spock's just over there like, Kirk's like, hey, get us ready to warp. And Spock's just over there like, giddy up, Captain. And like that's and then they just go. Okay, enough of this nonsense. Because we're going to start on Season 1, Episode 13, The Conscience of the King. Original air date was December 8th, 1966. So we're coming to a close in December of 66, which means that when we hit the 67, I'm still going to say 66. Just like I do in real life. But this episode opens with somebody getting stabbed, which is a first for us. And it turns out that Kirk is watching a live performance of Shakespeare's Macbeth. And he's hanging out in the crowd with a dude that's wearing he has like an eye patch. But they really tried hard not to show the eye patch. Like they didn't show that entire like left side of that guy's face. But you can kind of see he's got something covering his eye over there.
It was just weird. Like it was weird.
He kind of looked like number one from Austin Powers.
Yeah, okay. That's where I was like, man, this guy looks kind of familiar. Like it's not that guy, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like they were trying something like that, but yeah. At first they looked like that.
Like, there's his number one. I think that was Austin Powers, the guy's name, number one.
Yeah, number one.
Right?
Yeah, yep. I don't remember. I haven't seen it for years. Yeah.
Man, yeah, I was like, that guy looks familiar. Like it's not him for sure. It's 100% not him. But like there was just some similarity that like that. It's like the design that I recognized. But so they're watching the play, and the guy in the eye patch turns to Kirk, and he's talking about one of the main actors on the stage, and he's like, that guy right there, that's Kodos the Executioner. And then that's it. We just get the show opening. This is kind of like a dun 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 kind of thing, which a cool ass name, by the way, like Kodos the Executioner. If you get like a sweet title like that,
random thing, that was a very weird opening for us. Like I thought it was the most weirdest, like the whole play. The him just sitting there looking at him like he wanted to kill him or whatever. Like I don't know, it was just weird. Like it was weird's the wrong word. I'm gonna say unique because I'm not complaining about it because like I just think it was very unique intro, like very different than anything we ever seen in the show before. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was actually pretty refreshing. I thought to not see just get a shot of the Enterprise orbiting something. I actually thought
that I played episode and had missed some of it. So I actually restarted it again, not realizing that, this is the beginning of the episode. Because I looked away for a second, it came back and thought maybe I had hit the wrong button and skipped ahead. I didn't realize it. We never seen an episode like, it wasn't even an intro or anything like that. A captain's log or nothing. It was literally the middle of the play, and it threw me off for a minute.
Yeah. I thought before they like revealed that it was a play, I thought we were on like some Shakespearean planet and like somebody was just getting murdered. Like it's just like Planet Shakespeare.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be one, right?
Yeah.
Like infinite planets in the universe. There has to be Planet Shakespeare somewhere.
Everybody talks Shakespearean the whole time.
What a terrible planet, dude. The murder rate would be insane.
Yeah, the murder rate would be way up.
Yeah.
Thou do betray me, die.
And then just and then somebody commits suicide because of it, and everybody on that planet dies.
Yep.
It's just a big chain. But we do come back from the show opening, and now the Enterprise is orbiting a planet. That's what I came here for.
Yeah.
We also get a captain's log, so we get the twofer.
Yeah.
It explains that they've diverted their course. They've diverted from their scheduled course to Cygnia Minor to confirm the discovery of a synthetic food that could end famine, and it was created by Dr. Thomas Layton, which I thought Layton sounded familiar. Maybe it's just because it's a more like common name, but I thought we might have heard something from about like a Dr. Layton or something in Star Trek, but I didn't go back and I didn't find anything, so I don't know.
I'm not sure, but the one thing I thought about the moment I saw the synthetic food thing was, I wonder if it's safe. First of all, what if it was safe? And I thought, man, what if we could really create the food to change the world? But that's a whole nother secondary question.
Well, okay.
Paul, what type of food, any type of food you wanted, what would you create?
Okay, I'd probably just have like a perfect steak all the time, honestly.
The perfect steak? Oh, come on, bro.
Just
really?
all the time. All the time.
No. Oh, that's terrible.
Okay,
so
but also...
we're trying to change the world, not change just for myself, okay? If I was going to do anything that was synthetic and change the world, I would do something like wheat or something. Or like something I know wheat can be used in a lot of stuff. So I would do like wheat.
Okay, but if we're going to change the world, then that means that I'm going to bring back the bacon cheddar mushroom melt from Wendy's. So we're going to synthesize those.
Well, you know what my answer is going to be.
I know what your answer is going to be. Go ahead.
I'm going to bring back the Nacho Crunch grilled stuffed burrito.
Oh, get out of here.
From Taco Bell.
Oh, that thing
you didn't say we had to change the world for the better. Like, we could just make everybody obese.
Nobody liked that nacho cheese grilled stuffed burrito. Nobody liked that. Probably except you.
That's why it's gone.
Oh, man. This podcast is over now. Those are fighting
words. I like that. I'd rather have a nacho Bo Grande and a heartbeat over that.
All right. So Kirk is on the planet, and he's talking to the guy with the eye patch and some woman, and they're still trying to hide this, like his face is messed up on the other side. They're not doing a super great job because you can see bits and pieces of the eye patch over there. So Kirk is like, he's mad because he called off 3 light years off of his course to hear this guy with the eye patch accuse somebody of being Kodos. So it turns out like the synthetic food thing was just a lie. And he's like, you put me in trouble with your lie, and like you're in trouble because of your synthetic food lie. Like you can't just divert a starship here, to lie about stuff like that. So the guy's like, well, I did it to trap Kodos, and Kirk is like, Kodos is dead. So whoever Kodos is, like, obviously super bad guy, but he's also dead. But the eye patch dude, his name is Tom, and he's like, well, how can anybody know for sure that Kodos is dead when his body was burned beyond recognition? And I'm like, oh man, that's a classic. Like that, you see that all the time. If you ever have a character that you want to make it like a surprise comeback, there was like a fire or an explosion, they were burned beyond recognition, and they're coming back. 100% of the time, they're always coming back. You don't start that trope without them. Like they just always come back.
It's like the classic villain trope.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to clarify that I forgot to play episode we're watching this time, but this time the mask is terrible. Okay, and by terrible, I put mask terrible. Really, what the hell? Because for a show that has some of the, like, I won't say the best, like, practical elements, but they're really good ones. Like, there's a lot of really good stuff in here. I don't understand what was the idea behind this mask. Because
there's like a piece of cloth on his face.
Yeah, like there was so many, but like if you want to show that he was scarred or something, there's better ways to show it besides this. Like you could have given him a Phantom of the Opera mask. I'd have take that better. You could have put him in. You could have just covered half his face up with the mask stuff they've been doing to everybody throughout the whole damn show. They could have made half his face alien if they want to. They could have did all these cool ideas to make his mask the face look cooler, like to show there's damage or whatever to it. There's 1,000 other things they do. They could have an eye patch. Even a plain eye patch would have been better than this.
Yeah, do we not have cybernetics in the future?
I don't
Like
know.
he
I
could have
just
been like
Well,
Kano.
I thought he was gonna look like Two-Face.
yeah. So did
yeah,
I, bro.
just something.
Something. I just thought that it was for a show that's so good at inventive things. There's 1,000 other things they could have did to make this better. But like I'm not like I shouldn't complain about that one thing because it really bothers me because for aesthetics and looking at it, I hated looking at it because it was just terrible. Like I didn't even understand it. Like it was just I don't know. I don't get it. They could have. I don't. There's 1,000 ways they could have made him put glasses on him, made him blind. They could have. I don't know. They could do 1,000 other things besides what they did. Because this right here is terrible to look at, and it's by far the worst mask I've seen in this show by far.
Yeah, and like they've shown that their makeup is actually really good, so they
Yeah.
could have done something with makeup on that side.
That's anything.
Maybe it's just like a cost thing. I don't know. I mean, it's still early in the series, so
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything. Imagine I could have went to the store and got a stick of gum or something,
just chew it up and slap it on your face.
So I'm saying, just to imply there's something on that, like something, like you could get anything.
Well,
I just
well, just in the past episode, if you looked at Pike's face,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah.
his face was all messed
Yeah,
up.
even though the 2 episodes I found were annoying, I just the masks and stuff looked really good. I don't understand. Maybe this guy complained. Maybe they came up with something. The guy that complained. I thought maybe they put the black in, and maybe later on they were going to CGI something there. Because sometimes on here the CGI looks terrible. So I thought maybe they might put the black on, then CGI some kind of image on his face or something they could do at the time. I don't know. I just know
Yeah,
clearly.
I don't think they had like green screen style technology at that time.
Yeah, see, I have no idea. I just know clearly that this is maybe the worst idea for a mask I've ever seen in the show. And whoever came up with this idea, I don't know, just needs to be slapped.
Hold on. Maybe his insurance wouldn't cover anything good. So like, hey, we're just gonna give you a piece of cloth to put over your face. And
That's
he's like,
it.
all right, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. This is I know I'm going on tangent for a long time. Like I don't want to waste the time talking about it, but I just think there's so many other ways to depict what they were going for. Like
Yeah.
and unless there's like a healing bandage that you put in your face and it slowly heals your face. I don't know. If they would have said that, I'd have gave them a pass. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. It's the bandage you put in your face and slowly it heals you, and you got to wear it around, and so have his face is blocked. I get that, but
Well, man, it's sure taking its good old time because that happened like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I
But what if it turns out like his face was completely fine and it was just like a fashion trend at the time?
dude, that too.
He just had this thing over his
like
face.
if you walked around and saw other people wearing it too, you thought, what the? Like, oh, it must be a fashion. Like if most people wearing it, it'd be a fashion thing for me. But it just the
He's
way
trying
it
to
was,
set that trend.
yeah, I don't know.
It is the future.
Yeah, it's just the way it was just very. I don't know. It's ugly. It's ugly, and for such a great show to this stuff, it was real ugly.
Yeah. But Kirk, he talks about how the case was closed years ago, and Tom says he wants it reopened because 4,000 people were butchered. But Kirk asks the woman there, Martha, to help him out. She's like, hey, can you help me out with this guy? And she's like, nothing I can do. Like, you can't convince him. He's crazy.
Yeah.
So Tom, he says he's not satisfied that Kodos is dead and that he remembers Kodos and what he did. And then that's when he slowly reveals, like he slowly turns to reveal his eye and the left side of his head are like covered in just a cloth that he grabbed from his bathroom. So he keeps pleading for Kirk's help. And Kirk is just like, no, nothing I can do. And Tom's like, well, that sucks because I invited all of those actors over here for a cocktail party later tonight to confirm that it's Kodos. And Kirk is like, well, I'm out of here. And he just starts to leave. He says he's got to go figure out how to enter all of this into his log because, the dude lied to get him there. So a little bit later on the Enterprise, Kirk is accessing the ship's computer to bring up some files on Kodos, the former governor of Tarsus 4. Why does every planet have a number? Like nobody just lives on like Tarsus Prime. It's just Tarsus 4.
Yeah, I've been wondering if there are multiple planets with that same name but just different numbers.
Yeah.
Or
Do you
maybe
think people get them confused? God, imagine the like package delivery. Like, oh man, it was supposed to get dropped off today. And it got dropped off on Tarsus 6.
Tarsus planet plus address too. That's funny.
Yeah. Like, no, I live at like 1501 Main Street, Tarsus 6. Like,
six. Oh,
not
minimum,
Tarsus 4.
Oh, Tarsus 4. Oh man, my bad, guy. It'll be another 3 light years for you to get that. What?
I needed that 2 light years ago.
What 3 light years? Oh, I think 3 light years ago. You said 3 light year delivery. What's going on here?
Yeah, like, look, I paid for next light year shipping, okay?
Yeah, Oh my God, Amazon Prime.
I am a
I'm a
Prime
Prime.
member.
Yeah.
I'm
You
a Prime.
know, the Lightyear shipping, and you
Yeah.
guys dropped the
Oh,
ball.
Yeah.
how dare you?
They'll
That's,
refund the shipping.
that's funny.
This is the only planet in the solar system. How did you mess that up?
Wrong system.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
so he was also known as Kodos the Executioner, and Kirk asks for the background of the actor Anton Caridian. Cool name, like super standard sci-fi name, Caridian, but
Yeah.
cool name. The computer records say that 20 years ago, Governor Kodos had invoked martial law and slaughtered 50% of the population of the Earth colony on his planet, and that his body was too badly burned when the authorities arrived, meaning that they couldn't positively identify his remains. But they never say why, like how his body got burned. They never, like, at all through this entire episode, they never talk about how he was supposedly killed. Just that his body was burned up.
I thought it said bomb. I thought it was a bomb. Maybe. I thought later on it said something about a bomb. Maybe I'm tripping. I'm not sure. I thought later on it said something about there was an explosion.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, that could be. I guarantee you I don't have it in my notes because I don't remember it. So, I mean, that's possible, yeah. But Kirk tells the computer to stop, and he asks for information on the actor. Oh, yeah, we went through this already. The computer says that Anton is the director and star of the traveling company of actors sponsored by the Galactic Cultural Exchange Project. Ooh, say that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
They've been touring official installations for the last 9 years, and that he has a 19-year-old daughter named Lenore.
Pause. At the moment I heard 19-year-old daughter, I thought, okay, he's guilty. And not only is he guilty, but I thought Kirk's going to have to. This is when I predicted the episode where I said he's guilty. Kirk will have to arrest her father, and yeah, because it's a 19-year-old daughter. I knew Kirk was in trouble, and then I just knew once I heard that, I thought, yeah, Kirk's in trouble. Because like every time you hear a female thing, Kirk gets involved in some BS immediately. Like it's his weakness. It's his weakness immediately. I'm like, oh, he's in trouble.
But he's good at it.
I'm just saying, bro, every time females come around, man,
Kirk has game.
Yeah, but he always puts everybody in the worst situations for females every episode, man. If a female's involved, it's all, here we go. Kurt's going to put us in a terrible situation again. Like, oh my God.
Hey, that's how he gets them. You know, he gives them a little bit of that Stockholm syndrome, like, savior complex.
Yeah. So he asks the computer to compare identification records between Anton and Kodos, and the computer has no identification records on Anton, Caridian. So he asks for information on Anton before Kodos died, but there isn't any. And it's like, Jesus, like how much more obvious can this be? And Kirk asks for a photograph of Kodos and Caridian, and then he compares them side by side. And I didn't think that they looked, too much alike. Like there's some similarity, but I was like, maybe it's not the same guy just based on that photo.
I think he's supposed to give you the idea maybe not the same guy, or also maybe had plastic surgery.
Yeah, that could be.
My bigger issue here is 5 minutes of investigation. He's already here. It's been how many years now since he disappeared?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years.
20
years. Nobody's had to click a keyboard. Like nobody's had to click anything.
Nobody looked anything up about this guy.
He did. Or did like nobody's ever really thought of. I mean, I guess nobody really expected he was alive. So maybe that's why nobody ever searched him. Maybe, but I know. Click. He know.
They do give a decent explanation for that later, I guess, that we'll get into.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So Spock enters the room, and Kirk is like, hey, do you think Dr. Layton is given to fantasy? And I'm like, is he just making shit up? Like, ask if you think he's a liar. Like, what the fuck is that? You think he's given to fantasy? Like, who says that?
Yeah, who talks like that? Yeah.
Yeah. But Spock is just like, well, he's a pretty good scientist, which does not answer the question at all. He just goes over, like, his characteristics and doesn't answer it at all. Just no help. So Kirk is like, well, Tom's got a really good memory, and Spock says, well, I don't have any information about that. Which, okay, so again, super helpful. But
well, why are you here? You're not helping at all.
Yeah, like, why are you even here, dude? But Spock's like, yeah, we're ready to leave. Yeah, he's ready to give the order to leave, and Kirk says that they're going to delay their departure, and that he's going to go back out to the planet, and then he leaves the room to go back out to the planet. And back down on the planet, Kirk is at the cocktail party, and he sees a blonde woman who we find out is Lenore, and she walks into the room, and they start to kind of talk a little bit, and Kirk's like holding a drink, and she's like, "Oh, is that for me?" And he's like, "Well, it might as well be." And he gives it to her. Like, he just drank out of that for starters.
Bro, she's
like,
19,
he just took
fam.
a little sip.
Stop,
Yeah.
she's 19.
What's legal drinking age on
what's
this
legal
planet?
drinking age, Kurt? Thank you. What's legal drinking age, first of all? Let's be real here. And then, was he just drinking juice? I don't know. But, like, it's, you see, this whole scene right here to me, like, them talking together, it's so, like, it's half cringe and half amazing to me. Like everything, like Kurt is so cool and the way he approaches everything. But you know her like a minute, bro. You just took a sip of the drink, you gave it to her, you're touching her. Everything about this whole situation.
Oh, he works fast.
Everything about the situation is so like, I'm like, I don't think Kurt could exist nowadays, bro. Like he'd be going to jail quick. Like, oh yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or he'd be called a creep. Like it just, I don't know. It's just funny.
How old is Kirk at this point?
See, that's what I was wondering too. I have that noted later that I have no clue how old he is.
Okay, well let's see.
He looks young in this show. I'll say that. He looks like he might be 30s or so, but if he was later in the episode they allude that Kirk saw Kodos, 20 years ago, that puts him at least in his 40s, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe we did cover his age at one point. When we were doing like Charlie X or something, I don't remember, but yeah, I think he is in his 30s or 40s. Yeah, they're really weird about when he saw what and when he did what. I don't think any of it really lines up.
Well,
I mean, he looks good for his age, though. That's why it's so hard to tell how old he is.
Yeah,
that's weird. Well, and also, hold on. Did he get involved in the situation with them because he was a Starfleet, or was? And you got to remember, Starfleet members start young.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
do they?
Yeah. I think sometimes you can start the early academy part younger. So maybe he was real young.
Oh, so maybe he was like a teenager when he joined,
or maybe he was like maybe he was super young, and then maybe that's why everything happened. I can't remember, man. I swear, like on a Next Generation episode, one of the kids that ends up joins like super young. I thought maybe you could join young.
Yeah, that one I have no reference for.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to look up. I'm sorry, guys, we're mumbling right now, but we can look up and figure that out. Because I never looked it up before. Now I'm curious about how young you can enter.
Yeah, I'll check towards the end of the episode. We'll find out.
Yeah, if you're at 16 plus, he's on young. That's 20 years. That's 40 either way. That's in between 36 and 40.
Yeah.
So he has to be older. I think the funnier part about it is he's 40 and no girl's 19.
Yeah.
And they didn't even bat an eye about that. Like, that's a better reference.
Well, hey, she's an adult, though. Like, I guess by our standards, legally, she's an adult. So I would imagine that not much has changed, in the future.
Yeah, I get it. But you can pull it off nowadays, though.
Yeah.
You think they pull it off nowadays? People like, oh, yeah, why is that little... Nah. People lose their mind about the show. That's why I love the show so much. Just to kick back to old school stuff. It's just funny.
Well, they always say age doesn't matter, if you're of age.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny.
Yeah, so they have some small talk, and that's where Kirk introduces himself, and he wants to know where Anton is. It says that he'd like to meet him, but Lenore says that her father never attends the parties and that he never sees anybody personally, which is like super suspect. But Kirk is like, well, that's pretty unusual, and he's like, well, I'll just talk to you instead. So they move over to this couch and they sit down. They have some small talk. I'm not going to go through it like line by line. We'll be here all day doing that. But Kirk says that she was impressive as Lady Macbeth, and she's like, "Well, how am I as Lady Caridian?" He's like, "Well, you're very impressive." So yeah, he's moving quick. It also doesn't take much for her too.
You, bro.
Like a little compliment, she's all about it.
He just, like everything he says, dude, comes out so smooth and cringe at the same time, bro. It's funny.
But she's obviously super interested, and Kirk is like, "Well, I want to see you again
for sure."
And she's like, well, I have a schedule to keep. And he goes, well, you don't really have a schedule right now, so let's get out of here. So they leave, and they go for a walk outside, and then they stop to talk about some stuff. And she tells him that he's not the same that he was at the party, that, now he's not really playing the part of a ship's captain, and that he seems very lonely. And then he goes, like, for some reason, that's his cue to kiss her. He's like, lonely, let's make out. But then he notices a body on the ground that's nearby. I do like, though, that...
He's like, damn it, mood killer.
Well, maybe for her, but he just wants to go investigate, but I'm sure he'd be fine just, like, doing it right there outside by that body. It's one of his kinks. But I do like that.
I mean, he's seen a lot of deaths, though.
Yeah, he's caused a lot of them.
Well,
I
what are we up to, like 19 still?
I think we're at 18. Yeah, nobody's died in a while in this show.
18.
Nobody in the Enterprise, anyway.
He's gotten better at his job.
Yeah, or his crew's learning not to mess with
guy
him.
Either. He's not an Enterprise guy. I think Cartoon is yo, what is she wearing outside, fam?
Yeah.
Let's be real here. Like I don't want to. I just. Why am I the fashion? Why am I the guy all the time? What is that? Like, why am I that guy? Like, I'm not the fashion. I swear, guys, I'm not into fashion that much. I swear, people.
No, but they wear some weird shit.
I'm not like the fashion guy. But on this show, I noticed the weirdest thing, and I'm okay with being unique and different. Let's be impartial. I'm not that guy. I'm just saying, what is this? Like, I get the dress is underneath this, and I get it. But what is this burqa wedding type veil she's wearing? What's the point of it? Like, what you want to mess up her hair out there? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's just ugly.
Yeah, but I do like that they paint Kirk as like this lonely dude, because like it makes sense that he is like his duty to his ship comes first, and he carries just a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he just kind of bears it by himself. So I do like that they give him a little bit of character development, that he's just this kind of he wants a relationship, but he understands why he can't have one, so he just has like these little flings with women more recently.
See, that's what I see. Kurt's one interesting character is because he's a womanizer, but he's not trying to be. It's just he's always on the move, so he can never settle down.
Yeah,
so he's like I want to be here, and I'm enjoying you, but my job comes first. I'm sorry, and I travel for our job.
Right.
So
he always treats him with respect, also.
Yeah, he's like, I'll come here when I need to. I'll come here and see you, whatever. But it's like I'm traveling for my job, so it's a weird dynamic, because I feel he comes off like super womanizer. Wow, he comes off like a player. Better word of saying it, because like a player, whatever. Because he's always trying to hit on every planet he goes.
Yeah,
but that's all he does is travel planets and see women, and then that's it.
Solve mysteries.
Have a relationship
let's be fair here, though. The women just gravitate towards him, though.
Well,
yeah, it's not all on him.
Yeah, okay. I feel you. I got you.
Yeah. So he runs to the body and he finds out that it's Dr. Tom Layton and that he's dead. And so we go to like a little bit later where Tom has been moved to the couch in his home, and Martha is covering him with a blanket. I'm like, why did they take him there? Like, they didn't call whatever local authorities or whatever. Like, hey, we got a dead dude. They're like, let's carry him, back to his house and lay him on his couch for his wife to see.
That is weird. I didn't even think about that during the episode.
Did they ever clarify that it's actually his wife? Did they ever say that?
I just assume it is. I mean, it might not be, but maybe it's like his sister. Well, no, because she has like some dialogue here. She wonders about why Tom was killed, and Kirk says that he'll try to find out, which they didn't even clarify that he was killed. They just come out and say, yeah, somebody killed him. He could have been just out there and had like a stroke or something.
Yeah, they didn't even rule that out, like possible heart attack.
Yeah. He was killed.
Yeah, did anybody ever say that he was killed? Like, I didn't hear him. He didn't tell the captain guy on the phone. Next scene, you're about to talk about in a minute. He gets on the phone when he says that calls scramble my call and to ask him to strand everybody on the planet. But he never says, hey, strand up on the planet because Tom is dead.
Yeah, no.
Like, he doesn't say that. I only see him tell the wife, unless I missed it.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't see him tell Spock or nobody either.
No.
So I don't know if they haven't even said that he's dead. So maybe it's a big secret throughout the episode. They never say that though. Like, as I've noticed with the episode, that it don't say nobody else knows he's dead, and it doesn't say that anything else. So I'm wondering, did they even announce it? Did it say anything? It was like, oh, I'm gonna keep it a secret so I can do this investigation and nobody will know that I know. Like, it's kind of weird. And then if I killed him and they're not talking about it, wouldn't I think something's weird? Like, I killed him, he's out there, but nobody's announced that he found his body and he's dead.
Yeah,
so, like,
I think they just forget to bring it up again. They're just like, he died, minor character, see you later.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird to be like, and they never bring it up again. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, so Martha, she gets real sad and she runs off. I mean, obviously she gets real sad, but she runs off, and Kirk calls the Enterprise to have them patch him through to the captain, Captain John Daly of the Astral Queen, which is a hell of a name for a ship. I really like that. And that's the ship that the actors were going to use to go to their next planet for their next performance. And he asks, like you said, he asked Uhura to put the transmission on scramble, which is shit. I didn't know they could do that. That's really cool. That everything's not just out in the open. So I gotta imagine it'd be really easy to pick up just random, radio waves from space, and like anybody can normally hear that. So But so Kirk asks Captain Daly not to pick up the actors and says that he's just going to take them himself. And Daly agrees with Kirk, and Kirk's like, "Hey, don't say anything about this." And then Kirk out and hangs up on him. But this guy was like just all too ready to be like, "Don't pick him up, cool." Like he's just had other shit he wanted to do. He's like, "I'm just going to shirk my responsibilities for this," and like I got no problems with it.
But the way he said it though, it seemed like he was like, "Bro, I owe you." So whatever you said, oh, you want me to leave them? Cool. I think he trusts Kurt so much. If that's what he said he wanted to do, like he trusted him as a reason behind it without even asking.
Yeah, but it's still funny. Like just know, like, no, man, I really should do that. He's just like, I don't got to work today. Sweet. Like I can just sit at home and play Xbox or something. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
He's like, now I'm gonna go to Pleasure Planet.
Yeah, there you go. That's where he's gonna go. But Kirk calls the Enterprise back to get himself beamed aboard, and then we go to the bridge. And Kirk is telling Spock that they're going to be picking up some people. And Uhura interrupts them and says that, a woman has beamed aboard and she wants to come see Kirk. And he tells Uhura to send Lenore to the bridge. And at this point, we're 12 minutes into the episode and we are finally on the bridge. And then also, who the fuck are these people on the bridge? Like,
dude,
who are any of them?
The one chick that he just did something. I never seen her before. Yeah, that he had a thing to. Everybody all knew. Yeah, it's weird. They keep a lot of same characters here and there, so it's kind of weird that nobody was there.
Maybe that was their third shift.
Yeah, like we talked about, it's their B team.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. We were talking about that before in the episode. Well, you think there'd be multiple teams that come in here and there?
Yep, this is them.
Yeah, it must be.
But then we hit this point, and as soon as this happened, I was like, "This is Paul." So Lenora beams onto the Enterprise wearing some kind of like weird ass blue fur dress and like sparkly leggings. I was like, God, Paul's gonna talk about this.
Hey, listen. I slowly, once I saw her in the last outfit, this outfit to me didn't seem that crazy. Okay, last outfit, it fit her personality afterwards. I get like this outfit actually get. Even though it's this little gym in the middle is like, hey, look at me. But everything this outfit actually get. So I have no complaints about this. I just think that it is what it is.
You think that's like fake fur, or like did they kill some kind of blue furry creature to get that?
Dude, I don't even know, bro. It is definitely. Oh my God, look at it, bro. I'm just compared to last outfit, it's not that bad. So I really can't complain about it so much. It's just I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So Spock questions Kirk about how he knew Lenora was coming on board, and Kirk just simply goes, "Well, I'm the captain," which is pretty solid. So Lenora gets escorted to the bridge, and she explains that they've been stranded and they have no transportation. And Kirk makes like this little joke about, I didn't think we'd be meeting like this. And he makes this joke like, "Oh, you probably wouldn't believe me if I told you that I arranged it," which is pretty funny.
Yeah, like one of sarcastic, the truth but not truth.
Yeah,
I thought that was clever.
So Kirk says that the regulations are very clear about taking on passengers, and she says that she's willing to bargain with him, and he's super interested because he thinks that she's gonna talk about sex.
Yeah.
He's like, here we go. He's like rubbing his hands together.
Did you notice Spock looking over and like, man, I'm intrigued. What's going on over here?
Yeah, well, Spock's just studying the game. He's like, how does Kirk do this?
Yeah. He's just trying to learn everything that Kirk does.
Yeah. But instead, she offers to put on a special performance for the crew of the Enterprise in exchange for transportation, and Kirk agrees to that. So Lenore leaves the bridge. But did you guys see that when the elevator opens and Janice comes off the elevator? Yeah, she gave like this look like, who is this bitch? Like just looked up and down and gave her the dirtiest look.
I didn't see that. I watched it as I'm playing
because she has no idea what's going on, but her natural instinct was, who the fuck is this chick on the bridge?
Yeah, because she knows that chick's there for Kirk, and Kirk is her man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't notice that honestly, but I didn't notice it at all honestly.
Yeah. Oh, dude, she shot her a dirty look.
I got a plan as we're talking, so I'll look up and see it.
Yeah. So
oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. I didn't see it. Okay, I just saw it. Okay.
Yeah. So Kirk informs Spock of their new destination, which is the Benicia colony, and Spock's like, "Well, that's 8 light years off course." And Kirk says, "Well, if my memory needs refreshing, Mr. Spock, I'll ask for it. In the meantime, follow my orders." And I'm like, damn, dude, what an asshole. And Spock just like raises his eyebrow and doesn't even say anything. He just turns back to his console and starts doing his work. Like, wow, Kirk.
He's like, I just got put in my place.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. Me and Kirk got issues. Like, what the, like, really, bro?
Yeah, that was unnecessary.
Like,
well,
okay.
Spock probably still feel guilty about betraying, Kirk's, trust from, last week's episode.
Yeah, he's like, let's not court-martial your ass again. You get back to that console, buddy.
Yeah.
So then we get the commercial, and we come back, and there's a captain's log with basically no new information. So we're back. We're still on the bridge, and Kirk asks Spock how far they are from the colony, and Spock says he replies using a star date, which is weird. They don't normally do that. I didn't write down like the actual star date, but usually they do like light years or hours or days. But he's like, well, we're this star date away, which was really weird.
Yeah, I didn't notice that myself.
Yeah, so Kirk goes over to Spock's console to pull up some files on Kodos, and he asks for a list of the 9 witnesses that can identify Kodos, and the computer starts naming them off, starting with James T. Kirk. And he stops the computer when he hears Kevin Riley's name, and the computer confirms that it's the Kevin Riley assigned to the Enterprise. And I was like, yes, the best damn pilot that the Enterprise ever saw. The guy that gave them double ice cream after dinner is back.
I'm always glad when they reference minor characters from other episodes. Like I think MCU has spoiled me to where like the whole connection thing for me, like when other stuff connected to other stuff. So like when I watch this show and I see like other characters, minor characters brought back here and there, I really appreciate it. Kind of like when I watch TV shows now and I see somebody come back that used to be on an episode. I'm like, oh, I like that character. Hope they come back.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
It's
good world building because it means that the characters have a past.
Yeah, and also I didn't expect like of all the characters we'd see again, I didn't think Riley would be one of them.
Well, he's one of the ones for us because we remember that dumb ice cream thing. So like, we remember that moment. Maybe some people might not remember, but as soon as he said it, you thought about that moment immediately. Like, oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. Plus, he was a really good singer.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kirk calls Spock over to have him transfer Riley from communications to the engineering deck, and Spock argues that Riley came from the engineering deck, and Kirk's like, well, I'm sending him back. So Spock's like, hey, can I get an explanation for this? And Kirk says that he doesn't want to discuss it and just asks Spock to follow his orders. And I'm like, geez, like, dude.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Of all the people, though.
And then why would you loop Spock in either? Why would you loop him in pretty quick? Like,
yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Like
I need you. Like, you're really good logic. I'm here. Like, I know I'm in a situation. I'm going to explain to you what's going on with me. We work together. Help me figure this out. Can we do it without interfering on the rest of the ship business or whatever.
Yeah, first of all, like it's a personal thing. So like, yeah, let Spock in. Yeah. Spock has also been right like 99% of the time in this show. Yes, like there's no reason to just be a dick to him just for no reason. Like he's always been a solid dude. Yeah.
I would like to think that this is just Kirk being petty and getting back at Spock from last week.
That's your headcanon on it.
Okay. That's
my canon on it. Yeah.
So from now on, everything is viewed the rest of the episode in my head with him remembering that he betrayed him just last week. Okay, so
Kirk's
now
still salty about it.
So now Kurt's attitude ain't that bad. If that's what they thought about, if they were that smart to think like that, then I will get it. Then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But me personally, I thought he was just being a dick.
Yeah.
But if he's being a dick for that last episode, then that's okay. So it's like it's one of those things.
So a little bit later, McCoy is in his office just having a drink while he tries to explain Kirk's behavior to Spock. And Spock's like, well, Kirk's just acting real strange, and asks if McCoy has noticed, but McCoy says that he has not, and he offers Spock a drink, and Spock says that Vulcans don't get the benefits of alcohol, and I'm like, dude, what a shame, because if anybody needs to chill the fuck out, it's him.
Yeah, but I don't get do you mean benefits in like that alcohol doesn't affect their system, or benefits as in they can't get benefits as in they don't drink just because they don't want to?
I think that they just don't feel the effects. They probably have an insane metabolism that does not allow them to get like drunk or anything. It probably has no effect.
It's just the word. Yeah, when he said that, I thought, oh, that doesn't mean he can't get drunk, or that no matter what he drinks, he can't get drunk, or they just don't drink as a culture. Like they don't get the benefits of drinking because as a culture. So that's what was when he said that. I thought I wasn't sure which one it was.
I think he needs to take a logical look at this and go, okay, alcohol kills the slowest brain cells in your brain. So by killing those ones off, you actually
you don't become smarter.
Yeah, you get to be smarter. So logically, he should just be wasted all day.
Only the fast ones are left.
Yeah,
he should be getting wasted. He's like, you know what? I agree with you now. You won me over.
Get in there. I just want to see drunk Spock. That's all.
You know what I found weird about this scene, though? Was that Bones wasn't even on the deck. So how would he know if Kirk was acting weird or not, if he was just going off Spock's word?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, or has he seen him all day? Yeah, you're right. But he might have seen him throughout the day.
Just like, he wasn't on the deck. He doesn't know what, Kirk's up to or if he's acting weird. Spock's just like, oh, hey, he changed directions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm still on board with just seeing drunk Spock. That's all. I just want him like totally wasted. And he's like, logically, Kirk's a bitch. Just like shit talking people.
Oh.
So Spock explains that it was illogical for Kirk to bring the actors on board, and Bones thinks that it might have something to do with Lenora. He's like, hey, young blonde chick. And Spock's like, well, I don't think that's why he's doing what he's doing. And he asks McCoy if he knows about Riley being transferred, and McCoy's like just really uninterested. He just does not give a shit about that. And he offers Spock a drink again, and Spock refuses. And McCoy's like, well, hopefully you don't judge me because I'm going to have some more. So he's just in his office just like getting toasty in there. He's like, I ain't got shit to do. Yeah. I got no patience.
I got the day off.
Yeah, just going to hang out in my office and get drunk.
Maybe if Spock did have a drink, he would understand why Kirk brought her aboard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but two things about to say. Okay, first of all, he said, this is my first time to have a drop of the true. That's the word he used. I wrote that down for a reason. The first time I had a drop of the true. Is the true a drink? Like is that the name of the alcohol? Is it true a slang for alcohol? That type of drink? What it is? I'm not sure what it is. I didn't even look it up at all.
I think it's more than just like, how it is when you drink and you're more likely to say things that actually come to your mind. So you're
that are true. Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. But I'm wondering if that's what it was. Like, is the drink called true, or the drink called the true, or a drop of the true is a quote to be like, oh yeah, it's the drop of the true. When you drink it, you speak the truth. Like, all those are all clever. I just wonder what it is.
Yeah.
I just wonder which one it is. Like, just something I thought about. And also when he says illogical, whatever, it's like, it's illogical. You see that girl? Like, it's funny that as soon as Kirk does anything stupid or weird and there's a female involved, Bones like, oh yeah, definitely because of her.
Yep. Oh, he knows.
You're like, oh, he's illogical. No, you saw the girl, right? Like, oh, you think he's stupid? Yeah, but you saw the girl. Like, every time he's that one friend in the group, and when females come around, he acts stupid as hell or does something stupid. Like, oh yeah, he's just that's just him. Like, it's funny.
Yeah.
I put this whole scene is the best scene ever in this whole show to me, because I laughed by the weird dynamic they had. I don't know what it is. Every time they were being serious, everything he was talking about, I don't know what it is about this scene, but I watched it like 3 or 4 times. I started over again. I don't know what it is about this. Like, to me, it's so damn funny and clever, and the way it was written and everything about it, it shows Spock personality is best and Bones personality is best, and then the way Bones just chips at his personality, and then the way they talk to each other is just, I don't know what it is about the scene. It really got me into the show. Once I saw this scene, it really got me into the show, because like I started laughing. I wish I could explain what it was.
I just like that we get a little bit of like McCoy Spock time, because like we know that they have that fun relationship where McCoy jokes about Vulcan anatomy and all that, and Spock does the superior thing, but most of the time when they're together, Kirk is there. So we don't get a lot of time just between those two, and it shows a little bit that, because when Spock has an issue, he always goes to Kirk, but when his issue is Kirk, he goes to McCoy.
He goes, yeah, see, that's very clever. I never think about it that way.
Yeah, so like obviously they have a good friendship. And, like they're dynamic, they work well. Yeah.
Yeah, the dynamic was really funny, and that the whole thing, I thought, oh, this is why they're friends. Like, I get why they would hang out. Because even though Spock knows he's being illogical or whatever have about it, whatever, every time Spock says something, the conversation it's just funny. Like, Bones I was always making a joke. He responds to the joke, Spock doesn't get it. He responds to another joke, Spock doesn't get it. And Spock doesn't get it, it's funny that Spock doesn't get it, but he doesn't get it, and that's funny in itself. I don't know why. So like, I'm laughing the whole damn time, because I'm like, yo, this is so funny to me. How this is a scene about nothing, and he doesn't understand the damn thing he's talking about. It was just funny.
Yeah. But in the corridor, Kirk is giving Lenore a tour of the Enterprise, and she's like, hey, did you order this really soft lighting? And he jokes that, if he had, he would have also arranged for music and flowers.
Which, man, he's quick on his feet.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like no missed opportunities.
If I did, I would have bought flowers and candy too, girl. Oh yeah, that's right. Like, I'd have did everything for you.
Yeah, but he does go on to explain that on the Enterprise they try to duplicate the Earth's conditions of night and day as closely as possible, which I thought was cool that we get to kind of see. That's how they keep the crew's internal clocks going, because we had talked about that once. Like, how the hell do they sleep when they're just in surrounded by darkness all the time?
Yeah.
Like their internal clocks would be a mess, but now we know why they're not, which is really cool. It's like a little bit of world building.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I'll remember for the future.
Lenore says a line that I don't want to repeat, but I'm going to.
Oh my gosh.
And she says, she's like, oh, the ship has all this power surging and throbbing, yet under control. And then she asks if Kirk is like that. And I said, is this a fucking, like, did I wander into a fan fiction? Like, did my episode get messed up? Like, what the fuck?
It sounds like the porn scene.
Surging and throbbing.
Dropping the biggest hint ever.
Yo.
Yeah, she's like, are you also surging and throbbing? He's like, no, I feel fine.
I wonder if this is the moment that people watching the kid, they send the kids to bed. Like, hey, stop, kids, time for bed.
This episode ends right here.
What, Mom? Kids, go to bed. No more Star Trek for you. Go to bed right now. Well, Mom, I don't get what's going on. What do you mean? Like, go to bed now. Yeah, it's funny.
So Kirk then, like, he just approaches her as they kind of continue to flirt, and then she asks about the women in his world, and he says he'd rather talk about her. And then he asks her about her father and tries to get some more information about the time that, around the time that he started acting, which is really smooth. Like, he's really good at, like, trying to get the information he wants.
I was gonna say, though, talk about a mood killer bringing up her dad, though.
Yeah, she's like, are you throbbing, Kirk? He's like, let's talk about your dad.
Yeah, let's talk about your dad.
But she does refuse to answer, saying that he hasn't answered her questions yet. So then they flirt a little bit more, and then they just start making out. There was a lot of dialogue. I'm not covering every word that they said.
The question I want to ask, did they do it?
Oh, God. Probably.
Out on the deck, fam? No.
Yeah,
no.
probably.
Kirk's too smooth for that. Kurt wouldn't do that. He's respectful.
Do you think he is? He was messing with some chick at a Christmas party. He ain't too smooth for having sex in the corridor.
Dude, that's a spaceship. He can do it wherever he wants.
Yeah. They were just making out a little kissy kiss, They got to think about it. This came back, he's respectful. He's like, I'll kiss you quick, but, we can't do nothing else till later on.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like he got some.
You know what's funny, though, is, like, shows and movies never show the awkwardness after something like this happens. So you have, like, this really passionate kiss, and you're just, like, making out. And then it's just like, okay, now what? Like, now, like, they're just sitting there in the corridor, like, you want to go play tic-tac-toe?
Let's talk about your dad again.
Yeah, some movies show that, the clever ones. But, I get what you're saying. Like, now what? Like, what's your name again? I'm drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, so on the bridge, Spock is asking the computer for information on Dr. Layton and Anton and Riley and Kirk, and he tells the computer to report any past experience that they have in common. So he's putting everything together super quick, because he's Spock. It's what he does. But later on, Spock and McCoy are walking through the corridor, and Spock is explaining to Bones what happened on Tarsus 4, so he obviously got his answers. And he says that on that planet, their food supply was attacked by an exotic fungus and it was destroyed, and that Kodos declared martial law and just started killing off half of the colonists. And he explains that Anton Caridian's history starts almost to the day that Kodos disappeared, which is like, I mean, you got to cover your tracks a little bit here, guy. You got to do something better than that.
I mean, obvious. You don't fake like some old stuff beforehand, like, put something else, do something else. I don't know. It's weird.
I like how Spock is dropping facts, but it also sounds like a conspiracy theory towards the end. Like, oh, his body was burned to a crisp and we couldn't identify him, so it must not be him.
Yeah. So McCoy, like, obviously starts to understand what's going on. Like, he's getting into it. And Spock explains that everybody that could identify Kodos is dead except for Riley and Kirk. And he says that whenever and wherever the witnesses died, the Caridian company of players was nearby. And it's like, how did nobody put this together before, for starters? But also, like, they're just sloppy.
But I think he said at least 3. Well, no, here's the issue, though. You think about it. They thought he was dead, though. So they probably didn't even think about them people dying was just a coincidence to them.
there has to be some kind of like
You know,
space authority that investigates like some murders and shit, right? Like like the federal space authority is just like.
Yeah, but if you kill people all over the galaxy, I'm assuming in different ways, I'm assuming to them that won't be a common denominator. Like they don't nowhere near each other.
I just
Because
want.
I thought he said somewhere near where they died. What's near? 3 light years, 4 light years? Like he said near. Like it's not like they're on the same planet. Like if they're on the same planet, then it should have been obvious figured out. But you can travel so fast now. You travel 5 light years, they'll kill somebody. You know, you can 5 light years back. They probably won't think you. You know, like I don't get.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get what
Like
you're saying.
was.
I'm just saying that like I want, I guess, a space detective show where he's just like hopping planets and like solving murders like this.
Dude, and investigating murders.
Yeah.
Oh my
In
god.
like this universe.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Star Trek Sherlock.
Yeah.
He just goes around from planet to planet, different planets, different customs, different rules, and then solving crimes.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, we're making this show. Hold on. Hey,
Let me call it Paramount.
listeners, shut up right now. You did not hear this part. I'm writing this down. I'm making this show. Space detective. Okay. All right.
So we cut to somewhere else where Riley is working at a console and he calls the rec room to find somebody to talk to because they got him like working in basically a dark dungeon looking area. But also he has some food next to him, some just like really shitty looking colored cubes and what looks like eggnog to drink.
Oh yeah.
Dan,
yeah,
I think we had talked about the colored food before and how it just looks absolutely awful. And I don't want to be alive to see that future.
Jello shots?
No.
Jello shots or something?
No, it was just like they look like colored wood cubes.
Yeah, food cubes.
Yeah, they look
Did he eat
absolutely
one?
terrible.
Did he even eat one?
No, he didn't. Nobody has eaten one yet. We keep seeing them pop up, and nobody eats this shit.
Well, maybe then they make a gummy version of it, like a gummy block, so somebody can eat it in front of you, so you know people actually eat them.
Yeah, and then I also noticed like when he calls the rec room to talk to people, that Uhura's in there and she's playing some kind of harp. And I was like, shit, is she like the stereotypical acoustic guitar guy at college? And people are just like, you know, can you cut that out? I'm just trying to relax in here.
Yeah. Thinking about you.
But then he hears her playing the harp and he asks her to play him a song because he's lonely in engineering. And she plays him a song and he's just kind of chilling and listening to it. And first of all, the actress, what is it, Nichelle Nichols, is a great singer. And also, I was clearly fucking wrong because everybody was all into her playing this. So she's not the guitar guy. So my first inclination was incorrect.
I think is it Eartha Kitt that plays her, I think? Whoever the person is. I can't remember who plays her. But anyway.
Yeah, like it's Nichelle Nichols, right? With an N on both of them.
I don't know. I thought it was... Never mind. Go ahead. I'll look it up as I'm talking.
But while he's listening to her play, we get like the classic shadow creeping up behind him, getting ready to do something nefarious. And then when he's not looking, someone sprays something into his drink. And I'm like, oh, he's going to drink some Windex. Like, obviously, honestly, it might help his eggnog taste better. So then Riley, like, he picks up his glass and he like teases taking a drink, and I get that it's for dramatic suspension, but I've never done that. Like, if I'm gonna drink something, I'm gonna take a fucking drink.
I get it, drink it. Yeah, you're like, oh.
He's like, oh, am I gonna do it? Am I gonna do it? Like, touches it to his lips.
Yeah, real slow.
Yeah,
smiles.
He's like, no.
Yeah,
that was a little extra.
Now it's time.
Yeah, so he takes like this huge drink while Uhura finishes her song, and then he starts choking and he falls to the floor and he's like trying to ask for help and he spills it all over the place. I'm like, oh, it was milk.
Okay, yeah, stop. Who drinks a glass that fast?
He was very thirsty.
That, bro? Dude, that's what I'm saying.
He'd been teasing himself like that for an hour. It's like, all right, I'm finally doing it this time.
Dude, nobody drinks.
Wait. Hold on, Paul. I'm a fast drinker.
Yeah, but hold on. Look, bro. Not only did he drink the whole thing almost empty, but you look back and the glass is almost full again.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of milk back in it. Like he almost gobbles it empty, you know, and then magically there's a bunch of extra in there, so it spills on him for the dramatic effect. Nobody drinks like that. Nobody's that damn thirsty for milk.
Yeah,
like
I thought,
like never have you just been, I'm gonna just go chug milk. You sip milk. You don't chug milk.
I thought that maybe like that was the whole issue, that he wasn't poisoned, but he's actually just incredibly lactose intolerant, and that's why he was like teasing himself. He's like, I'm gonna do it. Like he's trying to build he thinks he can build a tolerance just by drinking a bunch of milk. So he just like keeps psyching himself up, like putting the glass up to his lips, and then he just drinks it and collapses on the floor. So in the sick bay, Riley is being monitored by Bones and Spock says that if Riley dies, Kirk is going to be the only one who can identify Kodos, and then he's going to be the next target. And we go to a commercial break. We come back to a captain's log explaining that McCoy is working to find an antidote for Riley. And then Spock enters the sick bay as McCoy is making a log entry. And McCoy says that Riley had tetralubosol in his system, which is a highly volatile lubricant used on the ship. So that's why it was in that weird spray bottle. And
I thought it was cool that they the poison wasn't something that was what I'm looking for. Something that was like rare, like something that was on the ship.
It's not like exotic.
So like exotic. It's like, oh, that's on the ship, man. So maybe somebody could accidentally got him on him or whatever. I thought it was kind of cool that the way they did that.
Yeah.
See, that was the weird thing though, when Bones was trying to defend, like, oh, hey, that could happen accidentally of him drinking this. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's.
Well, no, I think it's just enough of a question to keep the mystery of the episode going.
Yeah, like that's where we are right now. Is Spock says that someone tried to poison Riley, and McCoy says that the tetralubosol is a milky substance and that someone could have made a mistake. And yeah, Dan, I was like, first of all, McCoy was all into this conspiracy like 10 minutes ago. But second of all, like there's just the guy in the kitchen just makes that mistake all the time. It's not a big deal. He just has the tetralubosol in the fridge next to the milk, and he accidentally grabs the wrong one all the time.
They don't have labels in the future like, hey, this will kill ya. This is milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of them, like he's got two jugs, and one of them is like a light blue cap, and the other one is like a slightly darker blue cap, so he just screws it up every time.
It reminds me of an episode of Family Guy where Brian's at the acupuncture place, and he looks up and there's acupuncture needles and poison needles, and the person can't read, so he doesn't know if he's got poison needles in them or regular needles.
Yeah. So obviously Spock doesn't believe that it was an accident, and he wants Kirk to see McCoy's report, and McCoy's like, well, he can get it when I'm finished logging it, and Spock insists that Kirk sees it now. So they leave to go find Kirk, and I'm like, yeah, cool, just leave Riley alone so that guy can come back and finish the job. Like no guards or anything.
I didn't think about that.
Well, Bones doesn't believe that attempt was made on his life, so he's like, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. So they go to Kirk's quarters, and McCoy delivers his report to Riley, and he gives Kirk just the whole ass tablet. Like, couldn't they just look it up on the computer? He could have just filed it and then just bring it up at Kirk's computer. He's got to bring the entire tablet with him.
That makes some sense.
Oh, that's a good point. Why did they do it that way?
Yeah, but Spock explains his thoughts on what's going on and how he thinks that Kirk is in danger, and Kirk says that Spock is getting out of line by interfering in his personal business. And Spock says that it's his personal business when it might interfere with the smooth operation of the ship. So Kirk is getting pretty mad, and he argues that he doesn't like anyone meddling in his private affairs, and he doesn't even like it when his second command does that. But McCoy butts in, and he agrees with Spock and says that, hey, Spock's doing his job. That's what he's here to do. So Kirk says that nothing is proven yet, and then Spock replies, well, even in this corner of the galaxy, Captain, 2 + 2 = 4. And he asks why Kirk is inviting death, and Kirk says that he's just interested in justice. And, McCoy over there, he's like, hey, are you sure it's not vengeance? And Kirk says that he's not sure, but that he has to determine whether or not Caridian is Kodos. And Spock just goes, he is. Like, he's just matter of fact. He's like, yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Yep. And
yeah, see?
And so Kirk says that he has to be 100% sure before he can make an accusation, basically. And so McCoy's like, well, what are you going to do if it is Kodos? Are you going to carry his head through the corridors and triumph? It's, whatever you do, it's not going to bring back the dead. And Kirk agrees with that, but he says that, the dead may rest a little easier. And my issue with this is, like, Kirk's getting all pissed and telling people not to meddle in his private affairs, but you took your ship like 8 light years off course, brought on a potentially dangerous mass murderer, and now you're telling everybody else to stay out of it. Like, you're endangering your entire crew.
But he does say toward the end of the thing that he's doing things he's never done. He put his ship in danger. Like, he he admitted that mistake of it. Because earlier he said something about something like that. I think the cool part about this is just this whole scene is really clever again. Like, this is well written. I like the whole conversation together. Like, it's all the conversation between the three of them decide if it's true or not. And I think Bones is like the moral compass.
Yeah.
of the situation.
He's always the guy in the middle.
Yeah, he's always in the middle. Like, hey, da da da. Like he's there to balance out and make sure. Hey, we know we know who we think we know who the guy is, but we have to be sure. Like we definitely have to be sure. We can't just go to the extreme. You can't just kill him. Like he's the voice of reasoning. Because Spock, oh, you want to kill him? Spock might be logically, that makes sense to him logically.
Right.
But then Bones comes in, hey, we got to make sure, you can't kill him. It's not gonna bring anybody back. Like all this small stuff. So I think Bones is like the kind of the moral compass of the whole situation.
Yeah, and like the writers really have these three characters nailed down when it comes to interacting with each other. Like they know just what works as far as like dialogue and everything, and what the characters would do. Kirk has been a little wishy-washy for me throughout this series so far. Like sometimes he's the world's best captain and sometimes he's just absolute trash. But for the most part, like McCoy and Spock have been just like 100% spot on, I think.
Yep, I agree.
Well, I do agree with you on the point of Kirk, but also shows that he's human and he can have off days. He can't be perfect all the time. Yeah,
100%. But like when he's off, he's way off. Like he's not just messing up a little bit. He's like just really screwing stuff up.
Well, I guess when you fly by the seat of your pants, or however the saying goes, you're going to break some eggs.
Yeah, I think that's how that goes.
That old saying.
Yeah, I know that one well. So a little bit later, Spock is still talking to Kirk about the situation, and Bones is not in the room anymore, and Spock notices a humming noise. So they quickly determine that it's a phaser on overload, and Spock starts searching for it while Kirk goes to make a call, and he warns that the phaser could destroy the entire deck if it explodes, and he orders an evacuation of the quadrant and says that it's a double red alert. And I love their alert sound, first of all. Like the red alert sound is just, I don't know what it is, it's just an amazing sound to me. Second of all, this is one of those things where Kirk is solid, and he's just immediately on it. Like he's like, hey, this thing could wipe out this part of this ship. Like we need to get these people out of the ship. And then third of all, I like to see that we're using the overloading phaser thing again, like we did in the pilot when number one was like, screw this, I'm just going to kill us all instead of like us getting to leave this planet. Like, so we get to see that is a thing still.
Oh, yeah. In the pilot, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, it's also pretty impressive how much how much damage it can do if it blows up.
Yeah, that's insane. Like just one phaser. I mean, that thing is basically just, if you're in a fight and, things are looking desperate, you can just say screw it and start overloading it and then chuck it at the other people.
Basically turn it into a giant grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kill yourself, though.
Yeah, but
if
you toss it away from you on the battlefield, you might be all right.
If the explosion's big enough to destroy a deck of a damn starship, I don't think it's a grenade, bro. That sounds a whole deck. That's bigger than a regular ass grenade. That's like grenade times
I
two.
do want to see one blow up now, though.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and so do I now. Yeah, now I definitely want to see what it does.
Yeah. So they start looking through the room for this phaser, and Kirk starts knocking books over on a shelf, and Spock is looking behind this little red statue, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, it's obviously not there. Like, why don't you look under the piece of paper on the desk too, you fucking morons? He's like literally just like slapping books off the shelf. Like, oh, it could be behind there. Like, no, it's clearly not behind there.
It could have been. I'm just saying.
There's no space for a phaser behind them damn books. So Kirk does send Spock out into the corridor to evacuate the area, and then Spock's just like clearing the corridor as Kirk continues to search. And the phaser's just getting louder and louder and louder, and Kirk spots it up in a vent. So he grabs it and he tries to shut it off, but he can't. So he runs out into the corridor and puts it in a hatch that's labeled pressure vent disposal. So like, good thing that was right there. And then it explodes and the ship just kind of like shakes a little bit. But what a weird like vent to have there, or just have it all, I guess.
Yeah, that was weird.
Did that vent take the phaser to outer space, or was it just at a lower level of the deck?
It's some kind of like pressurized vent, like to put shit that you would want under high pressure, I guess. Like, I guess if you ever have an overloading phaser on your ship.
I thought maybe it was a trash chute for a minute. I thought maybe
I thought it was a trash chute also.
And I thought, oh wait a minute, you can't just shoot trash in space, can you?
I mean,
like,
you could.
Just run into it. And then I just like ran into it, like they're dodging space trash while they're traveling
Yeah.
light year speed. Light years. I'm just wondering, like you just like my mind went there quick. Everybody knows I'm a weirdo. Come on, my mind goes everywhere. So I went space trash, space travel, like space with space. I don't know.
Maybe
I thought it was
it's actually just the laundry chute, and he's like, "You sons of bitches keep shrinking my shirts," and just like throws it down there. It's like, I've had it with this.
It's a laundry crew.
His shirts are getting tighter though as this show goes on.
No, not getting tight. His shirt got shorter, bro. Not tighter. Like
it's both.
His shirt's getting shorter,
It's
bro.
both.
Nah, he's just getting ripped.
I can damn near see his belly button on this one.
Yeah, bro. Yes, I really can. I forgot to bring it up. I was gonna bring it up earlier, but I let it go. I thought maybe it would been going that way the whole time, and I didn't notice it until this episode. I was like, this getting really short. I'm like, man, it's been that way the whole time.
Yeah.
So you're right.
So we go to Anton Caridian, and he's in his room, and he's just kind of walking around, and he sits down and starts reading a book. And I noticed, like, he really decorated this place up for the short time that he's going to be there. Like, they're literally just taking him to another planet, and he's like, I got to get my swords out and display them up here on this shelf. Like, he set it up like he's going to live there. But, yeah, so Kirk enters the room and starts explaining the situation with the phaser and what's going on with Riley. And he just outright asks if Caridian is Kodos. He's like, hey, bro, you Kodos? And Caridian's like, if it pleases you, then yeah, I'm him. He's like, I'm an actor and I play a whole lot of parts. And Kirk says, well, you're an actor now, but what were you 20 years ago? And he's like, well, I was much younger. It's like, ha, got him.
Yeah, clever. I'm use it in the future. Like that's very clever.
But Kirk's like, well, I was younger too, but I still remember. And then this is where I had the note what we discussed earlier is like, how old would Kirk have been 20 years ago? But we'll find that out eventually.
Yeah, I'm still wondering.
Yeah. So Kirk gives Caridian a piece of paper and tells him to read it into the recorder on the wall, and he says that it's going to be recorded and compared to a piece of Kodos voice film that they have on file. And he says that the test is virtually infallible and that it will tell them whether he's Caridian or Kodos. And he explains that trying to disguise your voice will make no difference. So Caridian reads the paper into the recorder, and then I noticed that like he started reading it, and then he put it down like he didn't need it. And so Kirk noticed that too, and he's like, "Hey, you know,"
called them out on it.
Yeah, Kirk is like, "Well, I remember those words and I wrote them down, but you said them like you knew them." And he's like, "You know, you hardly even looked at the paper." And Caridian's like, "Well, I'm an actor and I learn my parts very quickly." So they go back and forth for a minute. There was a lot of really good dialogue here that I wasn't going to take it all down because we'd be here all day. Like, I don't want to just react the entire scene. But Caridian says that Kodos made a decision that, you know, some people had to die so that others could live. And Kirk's like, well, 4,000 people were needlessly butchered. And Caridian says that it was to save 4,000 others. And that if the supply ships hadn't arrived earlier than they'd expected, or earlier than expected, that Kodos might have gone down in history as a great hero. And Kirk's like, well, you know, there are no records of you before 20 years ago. And so this is where things get a little bit weird. And Caridian's just like, well, you know, the past for me is a blank. And he gets like super dramatic. And he asks if Kirk got everything that he wanted. And Kirk's like, well, if I got everything that I wanted, you know, you might not walk out of this room alive. Which the weird thing about this to me was how well known is this incident? Because Caridian had knowledge about the supply ships, which was something that we didn't. It's the first time we've heard of this. And then also he specifically knew that, you know, there were another 4,000 people there, because Kirk's like, oh, you know, you murdered 4,000. What if there were 14,000 people there? So like he specifically knew that there were 4,000 left, that it was half. And Kirk didn't notice any of this. He's just like, oh yeah, you know, that all makes sense. You would think that he would know that this guy was talking about information that he didn't have or shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah. So they get interrupted by Lenore when she enters the room, and she sends Anton Caridian to go rest. And she like starts to shame Kirk for using her against her dad. Kirk's like, well, you know, he does that classic, well, that's how it started, but then I really started to like you kind of thing. Yeah, he's like, you know, I wanted it to be more than that later. And she's like, well, it's too late. She says that he's like his ship, powerful and not human, and that he has no mercy. And I was like, well, at least she didn't say he was throbbing like his ship.
Well, that might have been awkward in front of her dad.
Yeah, he's back there like, what?
He's like, what? Yeah.
So he says, Kirk says that if Caridian is Kodos, then he has shown him more mercy than he deserves. But if he isn't, then he's just going to let him off with no harm done. And he goes to leave, and she's like, hey, who are you to say that no harm is dumb? And he's like, who do I have to be? And I was like, fuck, there are so many good lines in this episode. Like, I can't write them all down.
Responses.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just back and forth.
Yeah, she's like, who the fuck are you? He's like, well, who do I have to be?
I have to be. Yeah, it's just the way they, like I said, the episode's so smart. Everything about it, I like it.
So back in the sick bay, McCoy is making another log stating that Riley has recovered, but that Kirk has ordered Riley to stay in the sick bay to keep him from Caridian or Kodos. And Riley overhears this and freaks out and like kind of runs off. So then we get a commercial and then another captain's log saying that the performance.
Wait, pause. One second before you continue on. Hold on. The log that he was doing, like, okay, he said, like, a murdered lieutenant's family. Like, why are you giving that much detail?
Right.
Like I know Bones gives details, whatever medical details, but it was the most generic thing to say who the guy was.
Yeah.
Like it was like every single, like, why are you doing all that? I don't know. I thought it was kind of a waste. I thought it was kind of weird that he was talking and let him like, murder his family. Like Ryan's just sitting there listening, like the coincidence that happened. It's so like random as hell. Like I don't know. It was just I don't know. It was stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, especially for like a medical log, that's a lot of information.
Yeah, I just don't make any sense.
It's almost like he wanted it to happen.
He's like, I hope he hears this behind me and freaks out and does something dumb.
Yeah.
Like that's why I gave him that whiskey earlier. Yeah, so we do get the captain's log, and he just says that the performance that they had scheduled is getting ready to happen, and that they are doing Hamlet. So Spock and Kirk are comparing the voice recording from Caridian to the records of Kodos, and I'm like, why the fuck is this on paper? Like, they have this whole advanced computer, and they're just looking at waveforms on a paper.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I didn't even think of it that way, because when that happened, I forgot what they were doing. Like, I was like, what are they doing with those things? I don't get what's going on. So I forgot what the whole damn thing.
Yeah, like they could bring them both up on the computer, like set their one's transparency to like 50% and just overlay them and see if they match. But instead they're looking at them side by side going, oh, yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, well, you got to do it. Maybe you have to do it by eye instead of computer. I don't know.
Yeah, so Spock believes that they are a match, and Kirk says that they're not an exact match. But he says that they're dealing with a man's life and that no machine can make the decisions. That's why they're looking at him on paper. But if the machine can't make the decision and you can't make the decision, then why the fuck did you have him record the thing to begin with?
You know, another thing that might have been, this would have made it a lot easier. Do they not do like the fingerprints anymore when they're born?
Right.
Like they can't do like compared fingerprints or like a blood work. Like, hey, we're going to test your blood to see who you are.
Okay, time out. I got it. I'm a defendant for this one. Maybe all the records were destroyed.
That's all too convenient.
I'm just saying, maybe they were destroyed.
Okay, it's too convenient for real life, but for this show, that's perfect. Honestly, like for any drama, like that's perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
It happens.
So we go back in the sick bay, and McCoy is entering the sick bay to find that Riley is missing, and so he immediately calls Captain Kirk to tell him that Riley's missing. So then Kirk receives a call from security telling him that a weapons locker was broken into and a phaser is missing. So Kirk sends out a security alert to find and restrain Riley and says that he's armed and possibly heading for the ship's theater. And I'm like, they have a dedicated theater too? Like shit, they have beach deck, they got bowling deck, they got theater deck.
Yep.
They thought of everything.
Everything. Make sure you're not.
Okay, Paul, this one's for you specifically, but we get that shot of the security guys doing a super half-ass check looking for Riley, and the two guards fucking flag each other with their phasers. They point them directly at each other.
Dude, the security once again. See, at least the second guy took a left and a right look.
Yeah.
You know, at least he did that.
But like they're walking around with phasers pointed straight, finger on the trigger, just pointing them at each other. And like I've never handled a firearm.
Breaking every gun rule.
Yeah, I've never handled a firearm, but I know you don't do that.
Each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And part two, my issue is why you got the phasers out. Like I personally think that if a captain called you and it's Riley, one of your boys, why you got phasers out?
Well, because they said he was armed.
Oh yeah. Okay. There you go. I guess I can.
Well, they also remember when he went mad and was trying to give away ice cream.
Ice cream too.
That's a positive.
Remember the ice cream?
Yeah, that's a positive.
Well, still got to shoot him.
Yeah. it wasn't enough. We wanted triple ice cream.
How dare you?
But we go to the play, and Kirk is searching for Riley like behind the set or behind the scenes, and he finds him, and Riley's got the phaser, and Kirk's like, "Hey, go back to the sick bay." And Riley's like, "Well, Kodos murdered my mother and my father," and Kirk tries to convince him that it might not be Kodos. He's like, "That might not be the guy that killed them." So Riley says, "I know it's him. I know him by his voice." So Kirk orders Riley to hand over the weapon and approaches him, and then just calmly takes it from him and says, "Hey, go back to the sick bay." And Riley's just like, "Okay," and just goes. Like the most anticlimactic thing that they built too. Like just nothing happened. They're like, "Hey, there's a guy who's looking for revenge, and he's got a gun." And then he finds him, and he's like, "Stop!" And he's just like, "Okay." So I don't know what the point of any of that was. But Caridian does hear Riley while he's putting on his play. Caridian's doing the play, not Riley. And between the scenes, they take a little break between scenes. And Caridian's having a discussion with Lenore, and he says that he heard a voice from the past that haunts him. And he says that there was a part that he played a long time ago, and she says that after her performance coming up, the last two people that can harm him, being her dad, are going to be gone. So then she's like, "It was me that killed the other 7 people." And then Caridian gets super upset and says that she was the one thing in his life left untouched by what he'd done, which was kind of a swerve. I really didn't expect it to be her.
Yeah, I really like this part of the scene that they did, showing that, hey, he acknowledges that he was a monster, but he loved his daughter and didn't want her to be part of that world.
Right.
Yeah, so Kirk overhears them talking, and he kind of like starts moving towards them. And this is really weird because like Lenore sees him, and they just continue their conversation like Kirk's not there. So Kirk approaches, and he orders them to go with him, and Lenore says that they will when the play is done, and Kirk's like, "Well, the play's been done for 20 years. So Caridian starts like trying to justify his previous actions, but says that he never wanted the blood on his hands to stain Lenore as well. And she's like, "No, I saved you." And Kirk is like, "Well, she killed 7 innocent men." And she says that she would have killed a world to save her father, which this was like just some amazing acting from her. Like just, I don't know who this actress is, but like we always,
it was really good.
We always get that one part in the series where like somebody really has a standout performance or like a standout line or delivery, and like this was it. Like hers was really, really good here.
Yeah, I think her whole like she seemed all normal and dreamy, the whole time, whatever. And then when it came to her father, you saw she was so in awe of her father that she was a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
it was a little bit like it wasn't. She was so in awe of her father, somehow it made her crazy, which I found interesting. Like the fact that her love for her father, the way she just talked about her father, made her do all these things to protect her, protect him, whatever. I found that cool.
Yeah,
not cool as much as I found it interesting.
Right. I also wonder how she found out about his past, because like there were.
Oh yeah, they don't mention.
I
that.
bet he told
there were
her.
like 9 people that knew anything, and she just somehow found out.
Well, yeah. How did he know the 9 people that?
And then it said 20 years. She's 19. Where was the mom? Where's the mom at? Like, they never mentioned the mom.
No, not at all.
Trapped with the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I was something else I wanted to know. And I assumed that 20 years ago he remembered and he was probably told her the truth. But over time he's been forgetting and not knowing things.
Well, like 20 years ago she would have been born. She's only 19.
Well, see, 20 years plus 5. I assume at 5 years old, maybe I tell the story. 6 years old. I'm not sure. We don't know how soon his dementia or whatever making him not remember it right has came back. How bad it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they get a call that they have 1 minute to go on the stage, and Kirk calls the guard to take them away, but she freaks out and she grabs the guard's phaser and runs out onto the stage. So again, awesome work by the guard. He literally had one job, and he screwed it all up.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Paul, you might want to take this one. How is a trained guard getting his gun taken away that easily?
He was under the influence of the True. Apparently, he was sipping some of the True. Before he didn't know he called on duty. And he was a little.
His reaction time suffered a little. That's all.
Just a tad bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Man, Kirk's gonna make him run those drills for the next hour
until he gets 100%.
For real.
And he's gonna take that other 8%.
Yeah. Well, it's just like he walked up with it on his hip, talking or whatever, not paying attention. I don't get why, but And then is that how easy you can remove a phaser from somebody's hip that's sitting there, like just grab it and pull it? Because she didn't lift up or nothing. It was just a grab and a pull.
Yeah.
Like it was stuck on there by a magnet or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that did come off really easy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she grabs a gun or the phaser and she runs out to the stage, and everybody's all like, "Oh my god, what's going on? Like this isn't the play I paid for." And so Kirk approaches her and she says, she does this whole "Beware the Ides of March" thing and goes to shoot Kirk, but Anton Chridian steps in front of him and takes the blast instead. And I was curious about, like, I've heard the saying "the Ides of March" before, but I don't know, the background for it.
I'm not sure.
Dan, you know that one?
I do not.
Okay.
I bet it's something Roman.
Yeah, it is actually.
I bet it's something. It sounds Roman.
Yeah. So the Ides of March is the 74th day in the Roman calendar. And there were like a lot of religious days and things on that, or like around that. But that comes out to be actually March 15th, and it was notable for the Romans as the deadline for settling their debts.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, hey, watch out for the day that you got to settle that debt.
The Ides of March, like the month of March, the Ides, assuming payment or whatever, or tides, the Ides of March. Oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah. So she kneels by her dad, who she just shot, and she delivers a few lines from Hamlet, and then she starts crying, and Kirk just pulls her off and takes her away. And I'm like, nobody in the background did a single thing to stop any of this. They're all like they're watching this happen.
Watching.
Like she has her back to them all, and they're all just pretty uninterested. Yeah. Like, man, this is just a weird ass play. Like this took a weird turn, and like any one of them could have come up behind her and grabbed her or grabbed the phaser.
Maybe they thought it was a play still. Maybe they thought it was a play with Captain Kirk was involved. Yeah, they thought it was part of the
show. They never saw Hamlet before. This was their first show.
Hamlet was a weird dude.
This was a rare different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect Hamlet to use a phaser.
I thought they might start clapping at the end. I thought, oh, maybe they think like if they did that,
that would have been hilarious.
After they start clapping, they're like, oh, this was the part of the play for real. Like, oh, they didn't know that.
The other weird thing about this too was I noticed when Kirk picks Lenore up off the ground, he's still holding the phaser in his hand, but he's holding it in a really weird, nonchalant way, and ends up pointing the barrel at his own face. And I'm like, "Fuck, dude, this ship needs some weapons training."
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, like this whole ship needs some weapons training because they are just bad.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, so a little bit later on the bridge, McCoy enters with his medical report, and he says that Lenore does not remember anything, and she even thinks that her father is giving performances in front of cheering crowds. And I'm like, what? Like, why? But then he mentions that, he's like, hey, Kirk, you really cared for her, didn't you? But Kirk just kind of blows him off and like gives everybody the orders, gives his crew orders to leave orbit. And Bones is like, well, I'll take that as your answer. And then they just leave orbit and continue to their next destination. And that's the end of that. And I was wondering, like, does she not remember anything? Because it's just like one of those traumatic things that really messed her up. And so she's just like kind of went crazy. And that's like her mind. Her mind was just like, yeah, that didn't happen. Like that's her coping mechanism for having killed her dad.
It fractured. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought maybe her mind fractured or whatever. I mean, it was a little too clever. I thought the way it ended was okay. I just think it would have ended it different, like with her shooting herself and her father after she killed herself.
Yeah, like a true Shakespeare ending.
Like a true, yeah. I thought like it's such a Shakespearean show. I thought it was just not a great Shakespearean ending.
Yeah.
Unless you took some kind of chemical to make her forget, or something like that. I don't know. I thought there was a bigger ending. Like, there could have been something that was a little better. I don't know. But it was
well, if they hadn't destroyed the neural neutralizer, they could have used that on her. Boy, I really can't pronounce that. Neutralizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Okay, so Paul, what was your final thoughts on this then?
Honestly, compared to the last episode, this episode was amazing. Actually, this episode was like a 9, and it literally was because, for some reason, this was the first time in a long time I watched this show, and I just listened to the dialogue and the way they talked and the way the conversation, and it's so well written. And everything, like all the scenes went well together. It was good. The episode got better as it went along, but it was very good. I do want to say that one thing they caught me was when she had her crazy eyes and they threw the camera on her eyes. Somehow the eyes conveyed crazy eyes, and I don't know how. Like it was just the eyes sitting there looking, and I was like, "Yo, this chick is crazy." Yeah, but just her eyes. her eyes look crazy. I was like, yo, she looks crazy right now. Like I'm scared of her. I don't know how they did that. Like I don't know if she the angle of the eyes or what she was saying. However, they did that was cool. So, like I said, I love the episode. I did want to clarify. They said a clever quote in there that he did say that I actually wrote down for in. He says worlds may change, galaxies disintegrate, but a woman always remains a woman.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I thought, wow, the writing in this show is just insane. Like that, like every episode is there's some kind of quote or something that might stick with you. Like if you want to write that down and keep that in the life quote, like that would be one of the things you have. And I know that stuck with me. So like I said, great show. I liked it a lot. It was fun. It was good. I liked it. It's just cool.
Yeah. Same for me, basically. Really well written episode. For some reason, like the endings to these always fall flat for me. Like I don't know what I would have preferred as an ending, but for some reason, the ones like this, that they just build and build and build, and then they just, I don't know, the end just doesn't do it for me. Like I said, I don't know what I would have liked, but
it's nonchalant.
Yeah,
it's because it's the sarcastic nonchalant endings a lot.
Like everything wraps up quickly, and it's generally it's like I just want something more unexpected, and I want one where everything is not okay. And we had one close to that with Dagger of the Mind, but then they just kind of did that whole shrug it off, like, haha, let's keep going thing. Yeah, it was a good episode. Like you said, I think it got better as it went. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I liked it. Dan?
I'm pretty much on par with what you guys have just said, honestly. I enjoy, the world building and adding lore and, bringing back callbacks from previous episodes, like what's the phaser, being able to blow up. Yeah, I can't say too much bad about this episode. Besides that, Kirk seems to be a very moody person from week to week.
Yeah, he is.
But then again, though, running a whole spaceship must be pretty stressful.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. But speaking of spaceships, did you come up with the name for yours?
I couldn't think of anything clever.
All right, that works for me. So yeah, our next episode is going to be covering Season 1, Episode 14, Balance of Terror. We're still on Twitter at WWST_podcast. We're still on Gmail, WWSTpod@gmail.com. And you can still find us everywhere you find your favorite podcasts. And unless you guys have anything else, that is going to do it for me.
All right, I got one thing to add. Before I forget, hey, people, so do us a favor on our Twitter. So I've came up with an idea for a thing I want to write, or a short story I want to write, about a Star Trek detective in space that travels and follows murders. So if you guys can come up with a clever name for me, I'm coming up with names, maybe ideas. I don't know. We're gonna keep it in the Star Trek itself realm. We're gonna come up with a way. I don't know. We'll come up with it as a group. We'll come over here. We'll get on here. We'll trade ideas, and then when we come up with good things, I'm gonna write a great story about this new detective in the Star Trek world that goes around investigating murders. So join me on this great journey of ours with the space detective, whatever his name is, when we figure it out. So yeah, hit us up on the Twitter. We'll figure it out. All right, guys.
And let us know if you want his catchphrase to be "Giddy up."
No, first of all, no. And second of all, I'm going to have to go call an attorney because I'm pretty sure that Star Trek Detective was my idea. But other than that, I got nothing.
No. This is a joint effort, people, okay?
Oh, now it's a joint effort. Okay. Okay. That's it for me. Again, thanks everybody for listening. We really appreciate it.
Yep. See you guys later.
Later.